Hello, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you're located. I wanted to thank you for joining us today for our EE Power Up Scenario Monday. So, Travisa Financial, we are striving to make homeownership a dream come true for everyone. And through homeownership, we are creating wealth with our innovative loan programs, such as our EEP program. So, what is EEP? What is the Earned Equity Program, and how does it work? Essentially, a government entity, which is a Native American tribe, Tule River, they purchase a home that is selected by your home buyer. Simultaneously, while the government entity, the tribe, is closing on the FHA loan to purchase that property, your home buyer is entering into a homeownership finance agreement with a memorandum that is recorded on title to secure your home buyer's interest. The home buyer can make improvements, remodels at their liking, and they even receive a 1099 interest statement at the end of the year. Some of our EEP program highlights include 3.5% down for ITIN, non-permanent resident aliens, including DACA. Our low and no credit scores down to 580, and we allow alt trade lines. 3 months bank statements. 3 months bank statements for income qualifying is huge. Not only do we allow that for self-employed borrowers, but it is allowed for W-2 and 1099 with a DTI of 50 over 60. We don't require any seasoning of funds to close. So if you have any of those borrowers that just don't, have the good feelies about putting their money in the banking institutions and they leave it all at home, they can go ahead and just deposit it before closing, and we don't source or season any of those funds. Bankruptcies are okay. They can close on the loan during a Chapter 13, and for a Chapter 7, you can go ahead and get started on the loan. They can pick out the home, go through the process of everything, and we just ask that the discharge takes place 1 day prior to closing. We take all properties that FHA allows. If there is a condo that your home buyer is interested in, please make sure that it is FHA approved, because those condos do need to be FHA approved. And seller contributions up to 6%. This definitely allows the home buyer to come in with minimal funds. So when you are qualifying your borrower, there's definitely many scenarios to look at. You're going to look at your ITIN borrowers to only bring in 3.5% down. You're going to be looking at your self-employed borrowers for 3 months bank statement income qualifying. Not only the self-employed borrowers, but the W-2, the ITIN. So gig workers, waitresses, waiters that do receive a small hourly wage, but receive a lot in tips. And, they don't claim those. They deposit those all in the bank statements. Those are great people that qualify for the EEP program. We allow gift funds. And although keep in mind, you cannot use gift funds for reserves. And so if you're going to need reserves, let's keep the borrower's funds for reserves and then use the gift for down payment. Our max DTI again is 50 over 60, but let me make note that if your homebuyer currently owns a property and they're looking at buying a new one, and they are going to keep the other home, not only do we need a motivation letter, but the max DTI ratios on that is 33 over 50. 12 months clean VOR, and we accept alt trade lines. So for the ITIN market out there, I would say that this EEP program here at Travisa is extremely competitive. If you look at the different companies here, the down payment, huge, 3.5% down compared to up to 20%. 3 months bank statements compared to up to 24 months bank statements. DTI 50 over 60 compared to a 43 max back end. Credit scores, 580 credit score. We only require 1 trade line if they have the 580 or higher. These other lenders require a 700 or higher. In addition, we do have the no score program. So if you pull all 3 trade lines and you don't have any scores to pop up, we can get those loans done. We just need to show 2 alt trade lines instead of just the 1. So for EEP, we have a lot of support and help here. We have a dedicated line that you can call. We have a dedicated email box that you can send your questions into. We also have amazing account executives. There's Norma and there's Ben. And our AVP of operations, Shari, she is amazing. If you have any questions regarding TPO, that's the platform we use to submit files. We're all willing to get on a training with you to show you how to get everything set up, the process. If you want to get your processors on, that way they can learn from start to finish how to process one of these EEP loans. And in addition, for these type of webinars, we can also do private meetings. If you want to invite any of your realtor partners, again, any of your ops team, we can do a private meeting to go over the program, the ins and outs, and then either leave it at that or go over the TPO functionalities. So now it is time for our Q&A, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to leave it on this slide that gives you the information for how to reach out if you do have any questions, scenario questions. But again, our chat box is disabled. So if you have questions, please use the Q&A box, or of course, go ahead and raise your hand. So I did have a question earlier today that I think I'll just run by you guys. It was in regard to the alt trade lines and what we allow for alt trade lines. So there's actually a pretty long list of what we can accept for alt trade lines, but some of the few that are kind of basic that everybody should have or probably does have would be your cell phone bills, utility bills, auto insurance statements, and you can document and verify those over canceled checks. Or a lot of times if you go on to your utility statements or your cell phone statement, they have a payment history that you can click on. We'll also accept child support history if that happens to be within your borrower's scenario. So definitely a good list of alternate trade line that we can use. I do have a question just to confirm. ITIN 3.5%, is that full doc or with bank statement qualifications as well? So that is across the board. 3.5% is just the standard down payment, minimum down, and that is for all doc types, all credit types, all income types, property types. It's 3.5% across the board. I have another question here. What documents are required to submit for TBD? So in order to submit for TBD, we're actually sending it over to our underwriters. And so we definitely want to have a 1003 that goes over the entire file, what income you're at, the purchase price, your liabilities. And so a fully completed 1003, your credit report, your income is huge. And then we'd like to see IDs just to confirm that, you know, they either have the ITIN or the Social Security card. Assets we can always do later unless we are looking at the bank statement program for income, and then it would be the 3 months bank statements. So those are what we're going to require to get it into underwriting for TBD approval. What is the minimum credit score? So the minimum credit score is 580. Although if you have a borrower that has a really full, solid overall profile, they have reserves, good amount of time on the job. If they have under a 580, then we can definitely submit for an exception. But we want to see that they have a pretty solid overall strength of a file, and especially some reserves. 2 months reserves really would help in that case. I did have somebody call me the other day that had said that they had a really strong file, but had a 578 credit score. And in that case, since you're just 2 points off, it's highly likely that we'll be able to get an approval or at least an exception at minimum. So I have another question. It's, can we use DPA? At this time, we cannot use DPA just because of the fact that we are already using a 1% DPA, And so this is a situation where it becomes a wash. There is a 1% DPA that is a credit on the FHA loan, but it is paid back. And the reason that this 1% DPA is there is it's primarily for second marketing and loan pooling. It gives the opportunity to pay out more money. And so that gives us the ability to pay you guys more on these files. I have heard through the grapevine that there's a possibility in the future. I don't know if it's near or if it's still, maybe a year or two down the road, but the 1% DPA might eventually get removed from this program. And if so, then I believe we could probably look into getting a DPA on this program. But currently that would be a no. Sorry, that was a long answer, but I want to make sure that everybody understands. Is there any requirements around condo approval? Yes. So for the condos, as I had mentioned earlier, they do have to be FHA approved. And so if you don't have access to check FHA approval, then go ahead and reach out to us. We're more than happy to check on that for you. And then if your condo is already FHA approved, we can proceed with the EEP program. And we have a condo form that needs to be completed. It's not the traditional, 9991 form or the long forms of Fannie Freddie, but it's a shortened version of a condo form that is in our TPO Connect that you just need to fill out. Yes, you can absolutely call me for a one-on-one. So the phone number that you see here on the EEP Support Center, that phone number goes to me. And so you can call me anytime if you have any questions. And of course, if I'm in a meeting, I have a few of those lately, then I can, of course, call you back, or you can send an email and we can set up a good time to go over whatever questions that you might have. And I have another question. Is there a checklist? There is a checklist. So we do have a submission checklist that is required for every submission. This goes over everything from your income docs to your credit type to the property type. And we also have a few little suggestions underneath. So for each required document that we ask you to submit, there's little footnotes underneath of different suggestions that if you don't have something specific, you could submit something else in lieu. For instance, for verification of rents. If you have a home buyer that is renting from a private landlord, and you receive a verification of rent that is completed, as long as they meet certain criteria, then they don't have to provide bank statements to back up that verification of rent. So a few of those would be 620 credit score or higher, sorry, going off memory here, lower DTI, which I believe is 40 over 50 instead of 50 over 60, and your payment shock. So if your payment shock is 125% or lower, then those are cases that we can just take a written verification of rent with any supporting documentation. So little things like that are on our checklist to just kind of help you out when you are looking at submitting a file. The material on this program is on our website, but I also really highly suggest you reaching out to your account executives, and they have a lot of great material. You can also reach out to me, and I can get them all set up with you so that they can get you everything that you need. One thing that we also will provide is marketing information. If you need flyers or anything that you need in order to help market this EEP program, the account executives can help put those together for you, get them set up with our marketing department. They're really there to help you guys succeed. So all great questions, everybody. Thank you so much. I just want to give it one more second to see if anybody had any other questions. And if you do, again, if you do after this meeting, then go ahead and please, reach out via phone, email, and I'm more than happy to sit down with you guys schedule some time to go over all of your questions, and or we can get a meeting presentation put together. Well, everybody have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday for our Deal Desk webinar, and have a great day.